All right, it's At This Moment. How are you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to At This Moment with me, Jim Jefferies, and Amos. I want to say Gill. And how are you doing, mate?
I'm good. You know, I was told by my girlfriend to stop saying throughout the podcast, let's start over. That was shit. Let's cut that.
I don't even know what the edits are. I don't listen to the podcast back after we do it.
She goes, you seem to say a lot of the time, this is crap. That's because I think all content is crap. I think most of it's a waste of time. And I'm glad we have listeners. I'm mystified. I'm amazed. But we're just serfs tilling the fields for the internet, giving out this free content. The good thing, we don't do ads. So we just drive across town in an hour and a half of traffic to catch up.
This is as free. Well, this is the only way we'd have a chat otherwise. This is as free a content as you can actually have. I got a few announcements in my career at the moment. Did everyone see the trailer for Him just came out?
I saw you post it, but you're really bad at posting things.
Don't post things. I got social media teams. Sometimes I would call Jack and I go, Jack, make sure they do that. He goes, I sent it to your social people, and then they do it.
I know, but you could have done a video like, hey, I'm in a huge Hollywood movie. Instead, you just reshared the trailer and didn't even say, I'm in this movie. Watch this.
Well, I don't know. Okay, first of all, I'm only in like 3 or 4 scenes.
You have a publicist?
I might have 2. I do now. I don't like having publicists, but I do at the present moment because I've got things coming out. And I'm in the movie. I'm not in the trailer. I believe I'm in the side of my face is in the trailer for a second, I've been told. But so it means I'm in the movie.
Let's get this straight. You've got a Hollywood movie.
Yes.
With the producer being...
Jordan Peele.
Yes. Not the director.
No, Justin Tipping's doing the directing.
Yeah. You've got a Australian game show called The 1% Club.
1% Club. It's coming out this Sunday, the women's edition of The 1% Club. It's me and just women because it's ladies' night. That's what it was. They called it ladies' night, so that's what we did.
And you have something else to announce.
I have a game show coming out on Fox called The Snake.
This is I'd see last week.
The Snake just came out. This is today when we're recording the show on a Tuesday, and we're releasing it tonight, I assume. So you're here on the Wednesday. The press release has just come out today, and I had no idea. I hate the photo of myself with a passion.
I've just been sent the picture.
You've just been sent the picture, and obviously put the picture up now, and I'll try to replicate.
How do we put that picture up? I mean, just look at that, folks. You'll put it up? I just had to show for a second. You look like you were the best regional real estate agent.
Yeah?
From the Northern Beaches.
I'm going to sell you property that you like. It's a fixer-upper.
What an absolute prick. I don't know what the suit.
I don't know why.
The background.
I look like a right cunt in the picture, and I didn't have.
I'm Jim Jefferies, and I get results for you.
Yeah, a bit of that. But it's also the Jim Jefferies show used to have one with me holding a newspaper where I was pouting my lips like this, and it's like I never get into it. And then always my agents are up like, you look good. What are you talking about? And I don't want to. I think they think that this looks sexy or something. I don't know because What did you think, Jack? Little Pout. No, that was the Jim Jefferies show. Was Little Pout. This one, the new one.
You just look really clean cut.
Okay. So
It's not just that, Jim. It's just knowing you. It's funnier for us because we're very, very aware that face you're pulling is probably because you have a prolapsed anus.
Yeah. So anyway,
when you see the press, just know it's a prolapsed anus, and you go.
I'm hosting a game show called The Snake. Right, and the snake is like,
and they chose you because you're a fucking snake, bro.
Yeah, because you're a fucking snake. Edit things. No,
Is it going to be fully edited?
It's a show. It's got touches of Survivor, Fear Factory, Big Brother-y type of, like those type of shows. It's people living together, people trying to complete tasks, all to get money. And it's got some unique qualities about it, The Snake, things you haven't seen in reality shows before.
I've seen you attempt to host things before.
Yeah.
How many takes did they give you? Because it feels like on
None.
those guys, that's what I was a little worried for when you told me about it is, if you have to do a one take, no prompt.
I have prompt. I'll have someone in my ear feed me questions and stuff like that.
And did you fumble anything? Like looking back on it now, you're like, oh
no. You could go. It wasn't like acting where you go in and you do a scene and then we go, let's do it again.
Yeah.
If you're going along, you're like, all right, this is the game. You have to do this, and then blah 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 blah, and then you stumble over a word. Just go, oh, let me say that again, and you da-da-da-da-da, and you say it again until they, it's up to the editors to fix it.
Do you think the people that this is on the Fox network?
Yeah, Fox, yeah.
Yeah. How many of the viewers of Fox?
Yeah.
Do you think know you from stand-up?
It doesn't matter. They know me as the host of The Snake. But even if they know me from stand-up, this is the whole thing, because you're going to go because Fox is right. Like this idea that only right-wing people watch Fox and left-wing people watch NBC or whatever the fuck they watch.
If it was Fox News, it would be a little different.
No, it's just, and it's also, look, if you don't like my political stances on stand-up, you can enjoy me on another level. I do just say the word sluts a lot, and I say cunt more than anyone else. That's enjoyable to everyone.
Which is challenging for the family time slot of 7 o'clock that you're coming to American screens on.
I'll tell you what, the Australian game show, they record an episode over 4 hours, and I just swear as much as possible, and then they edit it down to 40 minutes, and I don't know, they just find the bits. Sometimes people write to me, why aren't you funny on that show? And I go, I feel like I was during the recording, but...
So is this a show you can watch with your kids?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, this is Jim Jefferies light entertainment.
This is light entertainment, yeah.
Do you know who your lead-in is?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Jackie, you got the date that it is? I think I know the date, but I don't know if they've announced the date. It'll be on the press release.
Dude, you're becoming the white Steve Harvey.
I thought he was the white Steve Harvey. No, what do you mean, like the white Steve Harvey?
Well, he's a stand-up comedian, then he had multiple game shows.
Okay, so I've never understood this idea that a bloke like me is not allowed to do... I guess that's
Drew Carey.
I'm not allowed to do family entertainment, right? I watched Eddie Murphy do Delirious and Raw, and I also watched him in Daddy Daycare. Right? Not on purpose. I found that movie by accident. I thought it was Beverly Hills Cop 5. I was a long way into it before I got upset. But you get what I'm saying? Richard Pryor did the toy. Why am I not allowed to do light entertainment? Because I do dirty stand-up.
No, I'm just asking the question and seeing if you're getting defensive about it.
Go fuck yourself.
You've got kids now. That's always the way. See, I think you're allowed to get away with this when you have a family of your own. Because you get to say, I'm making entertainment that my family can watch.
I was in the jungle, and I was there for a few weeks making the show, and it was a lot of fun. The people were very nice. I told you the food wasn't great. It wasn't one of the things, but the contestants, I tell you what, every contestant on that show, I could be friends with. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. And it just shows, because they were people from all walks of life, different ages, different occupations, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
If you spend enough time with people and you play games with them, actual games.
You could be friends with anyone.
You can sort of be friends with everyone, because you're not talking on a political level. You're not even talking on a religious level with them. You're talking about do this task, and you're having a laugh.
Well, that might actually meld into... I wasn't going to do this topic, but we might as well now. Did you see Larry David's attack on Bill Maher in the New York Times?
I have not seen Larry David's attack on Bill Maher. My wife is a big Bill Maher person, and she's not happy about Bill Maher having lunch with Trumpy.
Well, Larry David has written an op-ed in the New York Times, and it's a clear piss take about a man who went for dinner with Hitler, and that he doesn't agree with what Hitler's been up to, but he sat there and made fat jokes with Hermann Göring, with Hitler about Hermann Göring, and he thought he was very charming, and Hitler was a real laugh, and he wore a tan suit, and he was a fun time, and he doesn't understand why Adolf can't be the guy that he split the pretzel with instead of the guy that's out there thumping his hands in the Reichstag.
I thought it was bizarre that was the big thing, that he was and Trump, and he said that Reagan had great hair. That was the best thing about Reagan. He had great hair. And then what was the other thing? He was like, and he goes, and I went with my friend Kid Rock, and I got to tell you, he was funny. Trump was funny, and he laughed, and I'm like, I assumed he was. You don't get to be president, right, and not be charming. You don't get to have more than half the country vote for you and not be charming. That was never in debate whether Trump was charming.
Well, but Bill Maher did say he was funny. It's like, we've seen him laugh before. It was, he found me funny, which was such a comedian point to go, as soon as someone laughs at me, I'm fucking...
not if he saw his last special. No, I haven't seen it. I'm just staring. But no, did he say he found him funny?
Yeah, because he's saying he made Trump laugh, didn't he, by extension? And that's such a shallow comedian's perspective to be like, I will turn and love anyone. If Idi Amin and Pol Pot came to watch you do stand-up and they went to the meet and greet afterwards and were like, all things considered, you are one of the greatest stand-up comedians I've ever seen. You'd forget all about the people with glasses who were killed in Cambodia.
I can tell you that whenever people meet you, even if they think you're a disgusting comic or whatever like that, and they actually meet you, once they see the juxtaposition of you being quite nice and personable, right, all of a sudden they think you're wonderful. If people get to touch and feel you, they'll think you're nice.
I've always said the opposite.
Well, no, for you.
Yeah,
I'm
the
talking about me,
artifice
right?
collapses
Yeah. If people see you on stage, they think you're wonderful, and they meet you in person, like,
God.
oh, he smells like he
Put
looks.
together with sticky tape.
Yeah.
No, but what do
big
you
ball of
think? 'Cause
gout.
I just think as soon as you bring in, it was a funny piece, and I get the idea of what
She's
Larry
just
was
having
doing.
a bit of fun.
He's having a bit of fun, but I think as soon as you bring Hitler into it, you always kind of lose.
Okay, we
overuse Hitler far too much.
No,
Yes.
okay, so
because Hitler in the secular world has replaced the devil. And so anytime there's a person you really disagree with, you don't say he's the devil, you say he's Hitler, because we're not a religious society anymore. And our absolute manifestation
right. So
of
why are
evil
you
is
saying
Hitler.
we're using Hitler too much? Who would you
Well,
like
because
us to use? And who would be the place mark for Hitler?
Mussolini?
Yeah, right. So that would be better. I went for dinner with Mussolini. And also, I
Franco?
Okay,
I don't know.
I don't like Trump, but when
Salazar?
people go, oh, you refer to him as Hitler. Hitler killed 6 million Jews. Not on day one. Not on day one. I've never referred to Trump as Hitler at the end of his career.
Yeah, right.
I'm Hitler, just come out of art school. That's what I think he is. I think Trump is Hitler after he just finished Mein Kampf, which was the art of the deal of its day.
Yes, but I'm sorry to tell you, but Hitler served gallantly in World War One. He didn't pull out with bones.
Oh, no. In many ways, I have far more respect for Hitler.
He served.
You can't.
He's a veteran who saw horrors and came home and thought, "What the fuck happened there?"
He served. He went through with his campaign promises. Right? You can't say that about old Trumpy.
Well,
although no, Trump does go through with a lot of them.
Yeah.
And then he gets them. You got tariffs. You don't have tariffs.
But I thought it was. I thought it was well written.
I haven't
but it
seen
is
the
odd
article.
to come out of no Curb Your Enthusiasm. He must have been. I don't know. Those guys clearly around the same age. They would know each other, right?
Yeah, they would know each other completely.
What do you think Bill Maher was like when he saw it posted? Because you've met Bill Maher.
I've met Bill Maher. I quite like Bill on a one-to-one basis, and I've done his show. I infamously said Trump was Hitler on the show and told Piers Morgan to go fuck. I didn't say Trump was Hitler, mind you. I just said give him a chance. But I didn't say he was Hitler.
How do you think Bill? Do you think Bill will respond to Larry or this?
I think Bill will be
new rule.
Yeah.
Say it to my face.
Yeah, it's until you've had lunch with the man. I've gone Jim Carrey now.
I think Bill will say something about the last time he had lunch
Trump
with Larry.
was smoking.
Yeah, he'll say that Larry was a lousy lunch and he wouldn't want to have lunch with him.
What I would do is I would write an op piece against Larry about fucking what did he fucking advertise? Coins.com or some shit.
He was a peddler of crypto. What was it? Was it the one that FTX?
Crypto.com.
Larry David was admittedly pushing a crypto.
That was where no one loves Larry David more than me.
Me too.
I have loved Larry David forever. I once saw Larry David down at the driving range near my house, like at the little golf driving lounge, which is the public little thing. And I was so starstruck just to see him, and I was like, I might walk up. I'm a comedian. I can talk to him surely, and I couldn't do it. Right? I love Larry David. And also, I love Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who also is a billionaire, I've been told, an heiress, right?
Yes.
Those two people lost me in this world. They lost me, right? Look, I can do ads. I'm not a billionaire, right? We do ads on the podcast and that type of stuff. But
we don't. We have no sponsors. No one's behind us.
But I've done ads on the podcast. I'm not anti-doing ads. But doing crypto when you're worth, Larry David's worth 600 million?
I think $1 billion.
Yeah, let's say $1 billion. And then you go, I'll do another advert for 5 million out of a speculative thing like crypto
for FTX.
Yeah. That I was like, come on, man.
Well, that always reminds me of the Bill Hicks bit.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus. No, I don't like the Bill Hicks bit either. I'll speak on this.
I love the Bill Hicks bit.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus doing an advert for Old Navy, right? When she would never shop at Old Navy in her fucking life. It's all right if it's something you would actually buy or a product you agree with.
Or something like the Peterman magazine.
Exactly. There's things.
The hell just happened?
What?
The set just opened up in a door. Is Larry David coming out?
There's a secret door.
And here he is.
No, so the Bill
That's
Hicks.
not on camera, but a door just opened behind us. Like a guest was walking out.
The Bill Hicks bit where comedians shouldn't advertise. I think I don't know why, because Shane Gillis advertises beer and stuff now. Other comedians are, but my generation weren't allowed to. We were seen as being bad if we did adverts. Your generation,
meant to be alt
your
comedy.
generation's allowed to do it, and we weren't allowed to because of that fucking Bill Hicks routine.
I know, he's your guy.
No, he was never my guy.
But he's the father. He's one of the fathers, just like of the British alt comedy scene.
Overrated.
No, I think he's tremendous.
Very good.
But I saw Will Ferrell doing an ad the other day, and I just thought, why? How much do you need?
But Brad Pitt does a perfume
Why?
one.
Stop.
What? Okay, would you ever say it to an athlete?
Would I say what to an athlete?
Okay, because
their earning capacity.
I've just contradicted myself because I've gotten into Julie Louis-Dreyfus and Larry David because they're signed for doing adverts. And but okay, so Shohei Ohtani, you go to Japan, it's just Shohei everywhere. Do you know how the Dodgers now, right? They have, when you get to a base, right, they do their little dance and they also go like this. Right? And where that comes from is there's a perfume advert where Shohei's in Japan and he's like smelling the perfume and he goes,
look, there's some ads that are better than others, aren't there? A perfume, a runner, sporting things. It's another thing to go, hey, are you poor? Put your money into crypto in this speculative
Exactly. A car, like having McConaughey do a Lincoln commercial and going, hey, this car is, that's fine, right? Having Brad Pitt do perfume, that's okay. Having Shane Gillis do alcohol, that's his audience. And
he does like Bud.
I wanted an alcohol. When I was drinking, I was like, why wouldn't anyone want me to do it?
It is one of the great misses of your career that you never were. Maybe you were such a sloppy drunk.
Yeah. That's the whole thing. Who should we get to advertise? Because no one's drunk in alcohol advertisements. No one's ever like, Tito's, you fucking bitch.
If the Jack Daniels Corporation saw you with the product, they might have an internal crisis and close down the factory.
It's like how Burberry had to stop selling hats because all the chavs were wearing them. No, Jack. I would have hurt Jack Daniels' brand completely. Even Coca-Cola would have gone, just say you're mixing it with Pepsi. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, we're a rampantly capitalist society, and every inch of your life is to be marketed, and you try and make as much money from it as
you try to make
possible.
money where you can. Look, I'm going to get shit for doing this game show. People are going to give me shit, but I like game shows. I watch game shows. I host a game show. I'm looking forward to it.
It's very hard to have any fucking... I mean, what are you meant to do with stand-up?
Yeah,
if you want to be a really cool stand-up, ultimately you just do the work and you make money from your fans and you keep putting out good stuff for them and then you go away.
Yeah.
But we don't live in that world anymore. Everyone's knocking on your face fucking constantly.
And we used to be able to duck off for a couple of years.
We wish we could do that.
And then come back and go, I got a new set and I've been thinking of things and I went off and thought of it. Be real. You could be artists. We used to be able to be artists.
This is okay.
And now we're just like content. You got to put something out. The only reason we're talking now is more content.
Right? I know. We're trapped into the cycle, and it's horrible. You've at least got. I'm trying to grow. If a best friend of mine in comedy, we were talking about this the other day. If I knew what this was going to entail, stand up today.
Oh, please.
I would not have gone through with it.
And what job would have you done?
I probably would have just been carried on with law. I would have been
worked in the Audi dealership. When did you start wearing an Audi top?
Didn't I tell you the story of this Audi top?
No. You look like the harmful, like the helpful Honda people in their effort. The harmful Audi guy.
I'll tell you what happened for this Audi top. I bought a second-hand Audi from a dealership. Do you remember this?
Yeah, I remember that.
And it was like $6,000.
Yeah, and you're like, come on, I've got to get something.
Who would have believed that the Audi Q5 blew up literally 2 weeks afterwards? And I went in there asking that I've been sold a lemon.
Yeah.
That I was like, I want the $6,000 back. And I just kept going back, and they were like, sorry, mate. The lemon law, let the buyer beware. It was sold as is. And I kicked up such a stink about suing them. And they wouldn't give me anything. And I managed to only get this Audi pullover golf sweater was my payment. They were like, you've no legal recourse whatsoever. And I said, well, at least give me that fucking sweater. And I got this sweater and a pair of old roof racks from another Audi Q5.
And
That was all I got.
Why do you wear that? Well, that would remind me
was
of a shit decision. That would make
myself.
every time I would see myself in that, I'd go, that was when I got ripped off.
I did get ripped off, but this is all I've got for that $6,000 I put into an Audi Q5. And now I have a Volkswagen, which is far more reliable.
All right. I want to talk to you quickly about something that happened to me this week. It was Easter, right? And I got into an argument with my wife. Tell me what you think about this one. Right?
Sure thing.
All right. So my wife...
She was in the right. I'm just guessing.
No, I don't believe she was. My wife was in a bad mood, I guess. And
Cyclically or just...
I have my theories. I think she was in a bad mood that's more common for women than... I don't want to get into it, but I think it might happen again in a month.
Yeah.
Right? Anyway, so my wife was in a bad mood, and Easter Sunday was coming up, and I was like, with my kid, I was like, the Easter Bunny's coming. The Easter Bunny's going to come. Like this, right? And she went, we're not doing that. And I'm like, why wouldn't we? What do you mean we're not doing that?
She wanted the kids to focus on the true meaning of Jesus' death.
We're not religious.
And
we're not religious.
rising?
And I said, she goes, I go, he gets eggs like every other kid. And she goes,
She pulls out nails and a hammer and
She's
goes,
like-
we're going to teach them the real lesson.
yeah, she's like, of course he gets eggs, but they're not coming from the Easter Bunny. Now, kids, if you're listening, the Easter Bunny's real, right? And she goes, but she was saying the Easter Bunny wasn't invited to our house. She said,
But, I'm sorry, but like, why?
exactly. That's what I said. I went, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Of course the fucking
Did
Easter
she
Bunny's
say
going.
that Santa Claus comes?
I said, Santa, and she goes, I like Santa, right? And then I went, okay, so you like Santa good, Easter Bunny bad?
Let's get into some psychoanalysis. What happened to Tazy as a child with the bunny?
She claims that the Easter Bunny isn't a thing in England.
That's nonsense.
Yeah, I know.
I was just watching the Premier League all weekend, and they're like, "Hope the kiddies out there have had good feed of chocolate eggs from the bunny."
Yeah, no. Paul McCartney, the most famous English person living, posted a picture of him dressed as the Easter Bunny on his Instagram. It said, "I hope you had a bunnyful Easter." Right?
I think your wife was raised by parents who missed 1 year and then carried on a lie.
The first thing I did was I text Jimmy Carr, our most English friend, right?
Yeah.
Most English person we know. Wears a 3-piece suit everywhere he goes. Or maybe 2-piece suit.
Keeps invading places.
Yeah. He's he's a quintessential
Puts
English
a tax
dude.
on tea.
And I said, just having a debate with the wife. Is the Easter Bunny a thing in England? He goes, well, it's a thing, yes, of course, yes. It's not massive, but it's definitely a thing.
It looks like he's visited your house one too many times, Jim. You fat cunt.
Anyway, so he goes, yes, of course it's a thing. And I was like, all right, well, it's of course a thing. So I said, my wife goes, it's one of those American things, right? And I said, well, that's good, because we live in America.
Yeah.
And I said, we celebrate 4th of July, we celebrate Thanksgiving. And first, I know I wasn't sold on this. The Easter Bunny didn't exist, right? I think it's a thing that her family didn't really do. And she goes, maybe they do it now because the country's been Americanized or something. You're like, what are you fucking talking about, man?
Well, it's not like Halloween, which is only just come
Halloween, she loves.
Nah, she's fucking all over the.
She's all over the map. Halloween's the most American of
I
them
love
all.
you, Tazy, but you're well off.
Nah, she's wrong on this one.
Okay, so I'm sure you handled it well.
Oh yes, I overreacted.
So let's play it out. I don't want to. We don't do it here.
We're doing it.
I don't. I'd rather not.
Well, we're going to do it. And
We don't do it here. This is from your wife's
this is the bit.
perspective.
This is it.
You have gone. Yeah. Well, I'll find the most famous person from your country who will also call you a dumb fuck.
Well, see, this is the
That's
thing.
like if you and your wife had an argument, and she goes, "I'm going to get Chris Hemsworth to call you out."
She goes, when I was a child, we didn't do the Easter Bunny. And I was like this. Well, good. Because he's the one who's the child right now.
We're creating new memories.
Yeah. The child can enjoy it. Anyway, she came around. She's just in a awkward mood. But it was one of our biggest arguments we've ever had over the fucking Easter Bunny.
What else is really at play there? It seems to me, if we look at it, is she feeling some vitriol about America right now?
I think.
Is she wanting
I
to
think.
go back to the UK?
I think it was that she didn't want to wake up in the morning and hide eggs or anything like that.
Is it because of chocolate shit?
Yeah, I think it was just. Are we going to watch TV? But anyway, so then to stir it up a little bit more, me and Hank throw on the movie Hop, right? Which is about James Marsden and
Russell Brand.
And yeah, this is the whole thing. And the Easter Bunny is voiced by Russell Brand. And the Easter Bunny's dad is voiced by Hugh Laurie. And it's like, and I'm like this. See that, son? I'm talking to the 3-year-old. The Easter Bunny's from England. He's English. Why am I doing this?
I'm a bunny.
Why am I doing this? Why am I trying to upset someone?
Well, because this is what we do, and you'll do it every Easter for the rest of your marriage.
And I said, if you find me one place on the internet that says the Easter Bunny doesn't exist in England, have at it. Have at it. And then I was because I was so good in the argument, right? I was
smashed it, mate.
I was clearly calming things down and making and defusing the situation. I wasn't making the situation worse when I was like, right, Wikipedia. The Easter Bunny originated in Germany, which is nearer to England than it is here to America. It was in England before it was in America. It didn't help the situation.
And she didn't.
No, she didn't respond to that.
She didn't respond to logic.
No. She didn't hear that and think to herself, "He's a loving man. Our relationship's in perfect situation."
I think usually approaching disagreements as a zero-sum game is very good for romance.
What? But you know when you have an argument, why did I dig my heels in?
What?
I should have just gone like this. Okay, we won't have the Easter Bunny, and then just gone, hey, the Easter Bunny gave you some chocolates.
I had a similar one.
In the end, we had the Easter Bunny, and he fucking loved it.
Of course he did. He got free chocolate. My girlfriend does a weird one. We were in Chicago with all her siblings.
Yes.
And my girlfriend's 27 now.
Oh.
And
time to upgrade.
Time to move on.
Yeah.
But she's got a brother who's 19. And a sister
you
who's
could date him.
25. Yeah.
Oh, too old.
And another brother who's 30. And she made us do an Easter egg hunt where they get plastic eggs.
Yeah. That was one of the things the wife goes, they put plastic eggs in the yard and she doesn't like the plastic. I said, you have to just give him.
In Australia, we just put chocolate eggs everywhere, but they do plastic egg, then they fill it with other candies, cheaper candies and whatnot. Yeah. And then they put $100 in one of the eggs.
Yeah.
They spread it out across their house. And then my girlfriend kept being like, let's do the egg hunt. And I just kept saying to her, are you fucking...
No, I don't want to do an egg hunt.
I'm 33 years old.
Yeah.
She's like, it's fun. We've been doing it forever. I'm like, yeah, 27. This is a massive turn-off for me. And even her parents were like, why are you making him do the egg? And then she was going, get into it.
Why would you get into it?
I'm not going to get into it. She goes, everyone else is doing it. And everyone in her family begrudgingly was like, we keep up traditions for Hanukkah. And I just thought to myself, I need to put a fucking baby in this woman.
Oh, so she's the one who keeps it going. So even the 19-year-old's not...
he's like, ooh, yeah.
And then you find the
because my girlfriend needs a baby in her. It's just as simple as it gets.
Send her over. I'll fix it. Because we heard about your clumpy scum.
What?
Your clumpy scum?
My clumpy... You know what else happened to me? I'm going to get into my next topic about fertility. Before I do that...
I love how you bring notes.
The middle... Well, I have got to keep this on track, you know. Forrest told me to rein you in.
Yeah.
My girlfriend's sister, Caroline, brought the boyfriend home for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
And as long as I've been in the family, I'm the only guy that's been around. Boyfriend's been around.
And who's the new boyfriend? Who's he shown up? He must have shown up and been difficult.
He's turned up, and he was so American.
Yeah.
He's 25.
He's like, bro.
He works in finance as a consultant.
Yeah.
He looks great.
Stock market's going to be fun. It's going to readjust. It's going to readjust.
My girlfriend's father is a businessman. They're chatting tariff. I'm trying to get my nose in there. And I've got no idea what I'm discussing as they talk about derivatives and whatnot. He golfs better than me.
Of course.
So that was a struggle on the weekend. And then I find out he's a hunter. And we went out the back and shot trap. You know, the clay targets.
Oh, yes.
They have one of these machines, the family. And I get the shotgun.
I thought it was a type of fish.
I thought it was a type of immigrant group. And I missed... I hit 1 of 10, and this guy hit 10 of 10. And there's just a feeling when this new guy's there. He's a consultant. He's handsome. He's got a
Yeah,
gun.
but get him to do stand-up for 5 minutes and let's see what he's got
Yeah,
banging.
but I wasn't particularly bringing a lot of humour either. His stories were good at the table. He's hitting the targets. And I immediately, as you're sort of out-alphaed in that moment, I did see how woke beta male politics works because I started being like, I don't agree with guns. Like that was my way of dealing with it. Not much of a shooter. Just don't need violence. What do you need a gun for? What would you shoot for? I'm from Australia.
So you're saying that rather because he out-machoed you, you pussied up.
So because he was better than me at golf and
Yeah.
shooting, I'd be like this. Golf's for the rich, isn't it?
Yeah.
I prefer sort of street sports like soccer that the whole world can play.
The thing with golf is, you know what I mean? It takes a long time out of your day. I'd rather be with my girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of the clubs are really sexist, you know.
Yeah, and also
racist.
all that land. Think of how we could house the homeless.
Yeah. So what do you like about golf clubs? Was it the fact that they kept Jews out?
Yeah,
That was me.
that's what you said.
Going, so you learn to shoot. So you go away on hunting trips. You get an erection when you hurt a small animal, do you? And in that exact moment,
Did you actually say that to him?
No, but I did do a lot of. He did. They kept laughing. Like Anton, the dad, was like, "Holy shit! If an intruder breaks into Annika's house, Amos is gonna do fuck all.
Yeah.
You're not gonna protect my daughter." And I had to be like, "Well,
I tell you what, he'll trip over the fucking Easter eggs I didn't pick up. It'll be like Home Alone.
so I just stewed on it, and I immediately took this sort of beta male stance of,
So does Anton, and I know Anton,
Yeah.
your father-in-law of sorts. So does Anton, does he like the new boy more?
Oh, he's very
have
new.
Have you been dethroned? Because you used to be the fresh bit of meat in the house.
I've absolutely been dethroned, and you get to a position when I've been with this family for 2 or 3 years now, and now it's no longer like, hey, we've been cooking you something, sit down, we want you to try this German dish. Now it's like, there's dishes.
Yeah,
Pull your fucking weight around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're fat. How come you're not famous?
Wait. You get called fat and unfamous?
No, that's my projection, but that's what I think they're thinking.
Oh, see, they've never actually said you're fat and unfamous. Yeah, and don't be upset that they're talking behind your back.
I'm sure they are because
It would take too much fuel to drive around your front. What with being as fat as you are.
Because I sleep in. I used to wake up and go for their morning German walks, and now I've started to sleep through it. And I'm like,
What do you mean the morning German walk?
you know, they love to hike the Germans.
Who wants the goose step?
Well, I got bad hamstrings, so I can never keep up.
Yeah, they're not walks, they're marches.
I had to borrow some of their boots. But yeah, man, it was like, it's interesting when a new guy comes, just because men, we are very competitive, and he was a nice guy, and you are also like, it's good to have another dude join. You know, when
How old's he again?
he's 25.
25. You should be able to dominate this man in every way. Not physically anymore. You're too old. And
He
your joints
he was
are
a state wrestler at his college,
How tall is he?
and he doesn't even have the fucked up ears. I was hoping when I heard he was a good wrestler, yeah, but he'll have those ugly ears. He didn't even have those. Fucking.
They wear those things over the top to stop the ears.
Oh, mate.
Because
Because
is he taller than you?
Your wife's sister doesn't have a partner, or she does.
She's married.
Yeah.
I went to my wife's sister's marriage, wedding. It was the same weekend the Queen died. I remember it distinctly because the Queen died. And I also I went there just for a weekend. I met up with a couple of friends. I went to a dinner, and then I went to the wedding. And then the wedding, the Queen had died, and I had to come back for gigs. But there was no planes that were to fly over the top of the Queen's funeral.
Yeah.
So I was stuck in England. You know what bothered me about it? Surely there were people who, I need to get on an airplane. My grandmother's on a deathbed. I had to rush home from my mother being on a deathbed, right? You'll do this in your life. Most people have to do this. Most people have to rush home for someone on their deathbed.
But if your mum
right?
died, is she part of any royal bloodline? Who gives a fuck, mate?
No, but
She's
that's
a
the whole
serf.
thing. The fact that we weren't allowed to have planes take off in the UK because there's an old woman died, didn't she? Right? So speaking of old people dying,
You try and do fucking
segues. Oh,
Finish
another
your
thing.
point.
This was the thing. So we're at the wedding. We come out. There was to be no confetti. You weren't allowed to throw confetti on the day after the Queen died
because it's a celebration.
We're meant to be mourning all weekend.
That's some North Korean shit.
There was
right
no
there.
celebrationary stuff to go on because the country was in mourning because the Queen had died. No confetti was banned on that day, and they told us no confetti. Now I'm a bit skeptical. I think the cunt who has to clean up the confetti was like this. The Queen said, "No confetti."
Now you all got that memo, didn't you? About no confetti.
Yeah, no confetti. It's a kind of a thing to sweep up.
And also, you have to take out own trash.
Yeah, take out own trash. And also, you have to leave a slab of Stella Artois on the stairs.
As an offering, because
As
it
an
was her
offering
favourite
to the
drink.
Queen, to the Queen, to the Queen! So my mother was a huge monarchist.
Just before you go there, though,
She
she
only liked the monarchy a little bit. She was just massive. Anyway, so my mother was a huge. Okay, you go on with you.
No, I just wanted to ask you if well, you don't you? Because you're international, famous, and wealthy comedian.
I'll tell you, my sister-in-law.
Do you ever feel at the dinner table like, no, this guy's got me tonight?
Well,
Do you get competitive or not?
Okay, this is the thing. So my sister-in-law, who I'm fond of, I like my sister-in-law, right? My sister-in-law has a husband, great guy, really sweet guy, right? They both met when they were teenagers doing stand-up comedy. They did like a stand-up comedy course or something like that. So
Oof, that's tough.
Yeah, so I'm the clay pigeon shooting guy. Right?
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
That's brutal for that guy.
Yeah. So I don't. Yeah, he wanted to be a stand-up. He actually does well. He works in computers, I believe. She's a sitcom writer for the BBC. She's very successful writing sitcoms, and they're a fun couple. When their walk out of church music was the theme song to Curb Your Enthusiasm. So they now pronounce you as they walked out.
But isn't it interesting?
Fun stuff. And both their speeches were bangers at their wedding. So they're funny people, but I didn't really see that before the wedding because, I think maybe me being who I am might have overshadowed that a little bit.
I had this feeling when you meet him immediately where you're like, oh, this guy who's met my girlfriend's sister on a dating app and they've been together for a few months now, you're like, I may spend the rest of my life seeing this guy at Christmas.
This is the whole thing. You meet these people.
It's like he better be a good bloke.
You marry the family, right? You always marry the family, which would always made it tough for me growing up because, my mother was a painful human being. That was, okay, so I was going to say, my mother, big monarchist, loved the Queen more than anything in the whole wide world. Favourite person on earth was the Queen, right? My mother there was a woman in Australia called Ida Buttress, which you'll know who Ida Buttress is.
Ida.
Ida Buttress is a lady who is maybe a little bit how Martha Stewart. That would be a good.
Well, she ran like the equivalent of
Woman's Day or something.
Cosmo magazine.
Yeah, she was an editor of magazine.
Vogue. Anna Wintour, maybe.
Yes, more towards that. But she also brought out a book on etiquette, right? She had a book on wedding etiquette, which my mother bought before my brother got married.
Which is basically a Karen protocol etiquette books.
Oh, this is the cuntiest book you've ever fucking seen, right? I think it was like white with like a rose, and I'm
just think about what etiquette. Like, dude, an etiquette guide is basically if you write an etiquette book. This is you saying from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, I'll tell you how you fucking act.
Yeah.
And you'd be exactly as I say.
An etiquette book is this is what I need you to do for me to put up with you.
It's the most OCD thing in the world. To say
arrogance.
here's a guide in every social scenario how you better act, or I'm going to be twitching at the eye and kicking you out of my fucking house.
So my brother got engaged and married quite young, 21, 22. Engaged at 21, married at 22, right? And my mother had bought the Ida Buttress etiquette guide to weddings, and we were going to follow this whether we fucking liked it or not, right? And there was things like I had to sing, because I was at that stage in the school musicals, I had to sing something at the fucking wedding, which I was like, oh God, right? But then there was a bit that during the speeches, the groomsman goes first, and he is always to compliment the bridesmaids, and the bridesmaids are always to lift up their hand and wave, and like this type of rubbish, old English shit, right? And then the father of the groom, who has nothing to do, right? This cunt has nothing to do. Historically, doesn't even have to pay for anything. He just has to show up, right? He doesn't have to walk anyone down the aisle. He's the father of the groom. Brilliant.
Bucks party.
Oh, I'm over the moon. I'll be the father of grooms. And if either of my sons are gay, then hopefully they'll be the... Hey, so father of the groom. Anyway, so my mother found in the book that the father of the groom is meant to toast the Queen. Right? In a room. And it also such a risky ask, because it's like the whole room's not monarchists. There's some people who avidly dislike the royal family.
Now, he was getting married to a Irish Republican, which...
No,
Is that against etiquette?
He was getting married to my sister-in-law, who I've known since I was 13 years old. Right, they've been dating for a long time, and she's Australian Danish descent. Right, so even the date, you know what I mean. So my father, I remember thinking, geez, Dad's not going to like this. I was only a young kid. I was like 16 or something like that. And I was like, fucking Dad's not going to be happy about this, like this, right? And all he had to stand up was, and stand up and say, to the Queen, and lift his glass up like this, right?
Yeah.
Right? And now someone like the MC, the minister, the minister of ceremonies, which, you know, right? Is that what it means? Master. We see of MCs my whole career. The master of ceremonies, the MC stands up and goes, and now the father of the groom would like to make a toast. And my dad, fair dinkum, he didn't get all the way out of his chair. He just went like this. The Queen.
Well, the poor fella.
Oh, yeah.
It was pushed on him.
Yeah. He was made to do it.
Although we still kind of do that now with a lot of modern weddings. There's always a really fabulous gay friend who's there. To the Queen.
Oh, have you seen to the
Hi.
Queen? But yeah, we like Ida Butchers to the Queen. Anyway, speaking of old people dying.
Yeah, okay. We should actually get into
what happened this week.
Bonnicked off. We should talk about what's happening at this moment.
Number
one, the Queen died
a while ago.
Well, I'm just giving us an edit option.
Yeah.
No, you said.
I keep this out. This is all shit.
Speaking of death, the Pope is dead.
The Pope's dead. He met JD Vance one day.
Yeah.
And the next day he was dead. Next day he was dead. And JD Vance was like this. It's good to see you up and about again. You know what I like?
It was like his last moments of breath.
His last moments of breath with JD Vance. You know what I liked is, you know, all the popes throughout my life have ridden around the Pope-mobile covered with plastic. There was a
Assassination attempt.
Trevor Cook used to say he looked like a big Tic Tac.
Yeah.
Right? It was a Trevor Cook joke that he looked like a big Tic Tac. But he's always in the Pope-mobile. And then you saw the Pope at the end there, and he was JFKing it. He was just like, leave me in the open air, bring children up to me, I'll pat them on the head. Because if you were going to assassinate the Pope in that last little bit, you were wasting a bullet.
Yeah. Well, they're not allowed euthanasia, so it's like, I'll just put myself in the position.
They are allowed euthanasia. They're who make our phones.
Not anymore. He's 88 years of age.
What's he talking about? Jack, was that joke acceptable? They are allowed euthanasia. That's all right. Keep it in.
I just said not anymore because of the tariffs. Jeez.
Right. Yeah.
Which they've actually caved on because they realised the phone might be $9,500.
No, they had to cave on the tariffs on the phones because it's like, we don't have the technology or the children to make them.
So Pope Francis was 88 years of age,
Yeah.
born in Botticellis. Here's a good one. Worked as a bouncer. It's his first proper job. He was a janitor and he worked as a bouncer.
For what club?
I don't know which bar exactly.
The Pope Inn?
I haven't been down there to
Pop in. Pope Inn.
He is the 266th Pope.
Okay, I believe I've had 3 popes in my lifetime, right? I might be wrong, right? When was John Paul II?
He died...
I know he died, but when did he start? I think I've had 3 popes in my life.
Pope John Paul died when I was in grade. Like, it must have been like 2005.
No, but what was the start of his reign? Is it called a reign?
His papacy?
His papacy. John Paul II, because they used to, when they came, they all chanted John Paul II.
He died in 2005.
We love you.
Right. Yeah.
2005. When did he start?
He began in 1978 until 2005.
Okay, so it turns out I've actually had 4 popes. There was another bloke in 1977 because I was alive in 1977. But so really in my lifetime I've had the 3 popes that I can remember. All right, and John Paul II, who was a goalkeeper for Poland. Did you know that?
Well, that was his position.
He was a goalkeeper. He was a professional goalkeeper. John Paul
right?
II. Yeah.
I just knew he was in Poland in communism. I didn't know he was goalkeeper.
He was a goalkeeper.
But how good though is what I'm saying.
Well, I don't.
Goalkeeper.
Check out how good a goalkeeper John Paul II was, because I thought he played for Poland, but he might have just played for a domestic club. He might have played for Warsaw or something like that, or Krakow. But
he was called Lolek the goalie in his youth.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think he played. Pope John Paul was also known for his love of skiing, hiking, and other sports. I did know about Pope John Paul. He was one of the most athletic physiques when they came in there, and he had trouble getting into the robes because they had a lot of portly fellas. Like, it didn't fit him well.
Yeah, he was all right. So John Paul II, he lasted forever. Then we had the Nazi in the middle. He wasn't long.
Ratzinger.
Yeah, he was.
Well, Ratzinger was there for a while. He was a Hitler Youth.
10 years did we get out of him?
No, I think maybe even less. 2005 until 2013.
So less.
Yeah, less.
Less. All right, so we got a little burst of him.
And then he had to resign, and then Pope Francis came in, and it was a progressive overhaul of the church, which
Let's-
made a lot of people very... He was very divisive by the end.
This last pope was my favourite because he was. Oh, I tell you what. I was at the bank, and I will quote the lady in front of me at the bank. She goes up to the counter, old person, right? Walks up to the counter, and the lady behind the counter says, "Hello, how are you today?" And she goes, "I'm not doing good, sweetie. I'm very upset about the Pope, and I'm Jewish."
Yeah,
That's what she said.
He was an environmentalist.
Yeah.
He
So
blessed
she
the gays without giving them marriage.
He was all right. He was all right with the gays. He didn't condemn them to hell.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
You know, the other thing about him was that this whole thing of, which I always laughed at, was they loved the fact that when he got in, he washed the feet of people, right? This is a big thing. They go, he washed 12 prisoners' feet. And I understand that some like Jesus thing about washing the feet
I
of
don't
people.
even like a foot massage.
I can't think of a weirder thing, because this would have been a press tour and they're like, the Pope's going to wash your feet. You'd go, I'm all right. Well, come on, we need some people who want to get their feet washed. I'll take a Theragun.
Yeah.
A back rub, maybe.
I would have taken in some nail polish and go, I like this colour.
What, you want him like a Vietnamese?
Yeah, I want him in there in one of those little foot
Doing a
bars.
pedicure?
And then he pushes back your thing on your nails. Then he makes sure you're. I've had a pedicure once. I didn't like it.
So I never understood that one, because that must have been in the Jesus time. People will walk barefoot or sandals, so washing the feet sort of meant something. In the modern era, it's very symbolic. I get it. He was a pope for the poor and the downtrodden, and of late he had a lot of critique from, MAGA people, because he was always condemning the Trump administration about refugees, and
All right, so
he was an open borders person.
Who do you suggest as a pope? Now, I think we go young. I want to have one more pope to see me out.
Well,
right?
this is the thing about
Just one more. Just give me a pope that's going to give us a good 30 years. So see me out, 35 years, whatever.
The difference between this and the election, if you think about it like this, is I was reading about who the contenders are, and they said if someone's young, that goes against them because it means they're going to have a long reign, whereas they want people near death. So in case they're sort of not so good, they only get a few years.
Why did you go all Croatian-y? In case they're not so good.
Not so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like if people, it's like the US election where you'd have like a Biden, because you'd go, he'll have like 5 years and he'll be dead. But if it's a 40-year-old, it's a reign until, that's a long ass job. You got to go until you die, or there's, it's proven that you've hidden pedophilic rings.
But that's what my problem with them is that they've all
not all of them.
No, they're not all pedophiles, but they have all turned a blind eye to. They haven't. They've all condoned and let it happen. They've all got blood on their hands. There should have been a bigger inquest, and there should have been fucking naming and shaming of the fucking pedophiles in the Catholic Church.
This would be an interesting one, because they tried to go. So Francis was a progressive pope. He tried to make it more modern. And everyone I know who's gone back into Catholicism likes it to be way less modernized and more ancient. Because in my opinion, if you're going to the church,
I know some people who believe in a pope from 400 years ago, and they think that the last popes have been too much.
Well, it post Vatican II in the 60s, where they sort of modernized everything. If I go as a once Catholic who dips my toe into the water here and there, I love...
Do you believe in God?
Yes. I love the custom of like Gregorian chanting. I like the Mass in Latin, because I don't really want to focus on what's being said. I like it for the meditative... quiet place.
What when you're like, what, it make you help? like it calms you down.
What, dude? When I go occasionally, I've gone
sucking on
with some
like
friends to the Latin Mass. You go there, it's quiet, it's beautiful.
It's not beautiful.
It's incense.
Oh, churches!
You don't find churches beautiful?
Oh, churches make my...
Not in America. They're fucking strip malls.
Oh, I've been to churches.
You go to Il Duomo in Florence. You don't think there's some transcendent beauty?
I have been to famous churches. We walked on the roof of one in Milan the other day. Yeah. Do you remember that? What was that one?
There was another dome, the dome in Milan.
And then you go inside and you're like this, more like, fucking clean these windows. They look all stained. Can't see out of the fucking things. Pointless.
You've never
Don't even put a window there. Just put a wall.
You've never once wandered around medieval towns and thought, well, this is maybe inspired.
I don't need to see another church in my life. I've seen them all over the world. They're fucking shit. And I know that as soon as I walk in, I think bad shit's gone down in this room. In this room, a child's been molested. Bad shit's gone down in this room.
And how do you feel when you go to the movie studios you work at? What do you think's happened there?
I think
good vibes.
Yeah. Yeah. But they've never paid me. Never paid me to go and do a church.
How about at the gyms at schools?
Why am I going into the gyms at schools? I'll tell you, my memories of the changing rooms at school wasn't exciting. My pubes were one of the last ones to come in. I wasn't over the moon about getting changed in that room. That was a terrible bit of your childhood. I remember that. Like, you would have been one of those hairy kids at 12, right? Where you would have just been...
No, I was actually... The Croatians are not that hairy, unfortunately. So I didn't
When did this happen?
We're not hairy. Look at us.
I've met your mum.
Yeah. You think my mum's hairy?
I met your mum. I'm just waiting for someone to get a nice photo of her so we can all agree that Bigfoot's real.
Oh, come on now. You can't say my mum's both a MILF that you fucked and Bigfoot.
No, I like your mum.
Let's find one attack line on my mother.
Trots, if you're listening, I'm sorry for what I said. Yeah, and if you want to respond in a video and put your hoof down 3 times, I'll take that as a thank you.
So this Pope chose not to live in. There isn't a palace. Have you ever been to the Vatican?
I've been to the Vatican. I've seen the Sistine Chapel.
Yeah,
it's funny. I'll tell you a quick story. So my parents, my father proposed to my mother sitting in the gutter out the front of the Vatican, right in the Vatican, and I'll reenact what I think happened. So we've been traveling a bit, and we should just stay together. Or we could be married. Okay, Gary.
Did he have the ring?
I don't know, but I don't think it was. Anyway, he proposed to her in the gutter outside of the Vatican.
You'd want to try the tomatoes here as well, by the way.
Well, this is the thing. So my mother's telling me this story. We're sitting out the front of the Vatican, and your father, he doesn't even get on one knee. We're just sitting there, and he just asked me. Then that's what he just asked me, and he goes, and Dad doesn't remember it. He's like this. Where were we? And he goes, out the front of the Vatican, Gary. The Vatican. The Sistine Chapel? Sistine Chapel. He goes, it had that place over the road that sold the very thin pizzas. That's how he remembered it. That's how he remembered it. It sold the lovely thin
People
pizzas.
find God in their own places, Jim. There's beauty in a nice thin crust Roma pizza. But when you went there, you may notice there is like these apostolic palace or whatever it's called, where a lot of the popes had been, and then this bloke in his shtick as the man of the people, he stayed in like a 1 or 2 bedroom sort of average apartment. Do you think the next one feels the pressure to stay poor, or is like, I'll be moving the bed into the Sistine Chapel and the tourists are out?
I think you want to live in the Sistine Chapel, right? You want to live at the Vatican. The Vatican's its own country, right? So you want to live. You're the king of the country. But
it's like a full town. But
you're the king of the country, right?
Yeah, but you're meant to be this sort of shepherd. This.
Please! Have you been into those churches? All the gold.
That's what I'm saying. But Francis was like, he turned his back on that. Whereas I think the next one's going to bling out massively. Get all the stolen art, all the artwork.
I reckon they bring back the big ornate crosses. Maybe get a grill. Something that says Pope.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a bit of fun.
Boy, did you know anyone who is a baptized Catholic
you know what?
can go in the running?
I reckon the Pope hats, or even the yarmulkes for the Jewish people, I reckon that was just a bloke who was going bald, who was just like, and God wants us to wear hats just at the back. Just on the back bit. That's what he's asked.
So, there we go.
Well, you don't like that?
No, I just like letting you have an out.
I think that's very funny.
No, okay, so...
I stand by that, Jake. Go fuck yourself. And if you're sitting in your car at home, I hope you enjoyed it.
I was reading about...
If you're sitting in your car at home.
And about to commit suicide.
And you've got the garage shut.
Like, if you're sitting at home listening to this, that makes sense, actually, why you're doing that.
I tried to top myself the other day. I started the car in the garage and left the garage door shut. Fucking Tesla.
Very good.
I was just waiting for it to catch on fire.
The betting odds.
Yeah. On
next Pope.
Oh, I thought you were going to go to the NBA Finals. Okay, let's go next Pope.
Lewis
Hamilton.
Tegel, Pietro Parolin. I'm just going to get you to pick one randomly without any.
All right, give me the
Mark Olivet. Sorry.
Give me the odds, and I'll put some money on.
Well, we're not to do. I mean, that's sort of antithetical. That's very sacrilege, isn't it?
I don't believe in God. This is open slather for me.
Fine, okay.
If you want me to be... It's like when I watch the Super Bowl. I don't watch a lot of American football, so I like to...
I'll get you involved, all right. Well,
although, watch the movie Him.
I'll read you the contestants. You like that?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, here we go. So, next Pope odds. One of them is... there's a couple of African fellas.
Oh, I'm in. Because
they're the super conservative ones, you see.
Why are they so conservative?
Have you ever spoken to an African dad?
I have, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
What do you think? You think they're progressive woke over there?
It's not like I've ever been dating one of their daughters in Africa and then he's come up to me and said, hey, this is,
There was some talk in the last paper about homosexuals.
Don't do the voice.
I can't do their voice.
I know a few things about the world at the moment and don't do the voice.
Look, mate, you're on Fox now.
I'll tell you, don't do the voice.
Okay, here's the front runners. Okay, and you can tell us who. There's Luis Antonio Tagle.
He's Italian.
He's actually a Filipino.
Oh,
67 years of age, considered a strong contender.
We haven't had an Asian Pope, have we?
We have not.
Asian Pope versus African. Look. I know diversity hiring has gone crazy and everyone gets angry with it, but I think for the Pope, I think we go diversity. I think if we had anything but white.
No, we've never. We may have
we've had some Italians.
Old history. Was there a black pope? I don't think so.
But for the most part, they've all been white guys.
Yeah, it's usually we haven't had an Aussie, mate.
Have we had a woman?
Well, no,
we're not ready for that. We're not ready for that. We're not ready for that. Let's go Filipino or an African fella.
So you got Filipino.
Yeah.
You've got Pietro Parolin from Italy.
Yeah, Italy.
Peter Turkson from Ghana.
Peter Turkson sounds like he's from Geelong.
I like the sound of Peter Turkson. I'd like an Aussie wog.
Yeah.
Like a hardcore, Aussie Italian who's like this.
I just think the church needs to move forward, but also remain the same.
Bro, look, this is the thing about the church. Like, fucking, another Christmas. Let's find another celebration where you get presents and shit.
Two Christmases. And then Easter. Let's bring back Easter Monday. Have you noticed that about America? They don't. In Australia, you won't know this, Americans, but in Australia, we get Monday off work as well.
I know.
We get Monday.
I couldn't believe I didn't get that.
Yeah, Easter Monday. You guys don't have Easter Monday. You get 2 weeks holiday out of the year. The rest of the world gets 4. The Germans get 8. I think the French get 6. And you guys get 2 weeks holiday a year, and they've taken Easter Monday off you. The fucking cunts. It's how the Americans don't uprise every now and again about the 2 weeks holiday. If I was a working bloke who just had a proper job and I found out that the rest of the world had basically 4 weeks paid holiday versus your 2 weeks, I would be fuming.
Well, it's because of that they're uncompetitive, and that's why America's number one is because they grind us into the ground.
Then stop buying all of our stuff.
Yeah, those pussies over there in Europe, they get time off for a vacation, and that's why we don't make anything here, but that's why they're failing. That's why we're number one. That's why I work myself to an early grave and I get cancer in my ass from the food that's poisoned and then no one pays me for it.
I always thought part of the deal was that you got extra things. You got 4th of July. You got Thanksgiving. So you got these extra things added on top that's sort of made up for a bit, and you're taking away Easter Monday, you cunts.
In a very religious society, I thought we would have more time to.
But they have the Easter bunny, where in Australia and England we do not.
I did think in there, so the conclave, I don't know if you watched the movie. You've got very bored by it.
I watched it on a plane.
But obviously, so the Cardinals do a vote and they need a 2/3 majority.
Yeah, it's such a proxy. They put it in and then they burn things.
What would you think of this? What would you think if there's 1.37 billion Catholics out there?
No, it's too many.
Wouldn't you enjoy, just for one time, if they did a Pope election the way we do a US election and they had debates, attack videos, and the candidates tried to get us to vote.
Why can't we see debates?
Well, it's all done privately.
Yeah, but why can't the people? We have to follow this person. The Catholics have to follow the person. Why can't they see at least a mission statement?
Well, I mean, listen, I'll give you a more left-wing perspective of this. Are you happy with the outcome of most elections currently?
Oh, no. The Pope was rigged. I'm going to storm the Vatican.
Because if it was up for election, there would be some chancer priest who's just like, if you vote for me, all the art, I'm giving it away. We're giving away the art. We're letting priests fuck again.
We're gonna drain the swamp.
Drain the Vatican swamp.
Drain the Vatican swamp.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think if there was a bloke who came in and said, "We're gonna get rid
A populist priest.
we're gonna get all the pedophiles out, and priests are gonna be able to fuck." Because that's the reason that the pedophiles are there, is because of the no fucking.
And there'd be female priests.
Yeah. There's already female priests, isn't there?
Yeah, not in the Catholic faith.
Oh, not the Catholic. The Catholic. What is wrong with Catholics? I was watching a documentary on JFK, and that was like the big thing when he was running for election. We've never had a Catholic in the White House.
Yeah, there was still like anti-Catholic sentiment when I was growing up because my grandmother was an Anglican and she was like, "You're one of those Catholics."
Yeah, no, isn't it weird?
What a weird bigotry.
Anyway, so in Australia we say H or we say H, right? You say H or H?
H.
But you've heard people say H?
Hey, of course.
Right? Hudson with a H, right? H is meant to be how Catholics say the word H in Australia and the rest of it. And so my mother would always go, "Oh, he said H like a Catholic." That must have been upsetting.
Well, it's
for you.
also anti-Irish sentiment as well, isn't it? They hate the Irish. I was Croat, so you've got to be Catholic.
I don't hate anyone, man. I don't know why you hate so many people.
Who do I hate? I feel
Do-
like I'm
do
full
the
of
voice. Go
full
on,
of
do
love.
the voice.
Which one?
When you start putting stickers on your car, isn't it enough that you have magnets in your fridge and you put the Johnny Cash one up there just to stir me up?
I
didn't
did put it there to stay.
you? You put it up there just to stir me up. I got on.
Jim hates Johnny Cash.
I got on at the Ryman. I got out of the Johnny Cash room and I started off by saying Johnny Cash is shit. And Jack, did I get some booze to begin with?
Oh yeah, that bit was incredible.
But I won him round.
Oh yeah.
Like standing up at the Ryman, the Grand Ole Opry, and saying Johnny Cash is shit, and here's my reasoning. It was a tough call because it could have ruined the whole gig.
At least Johnny Cash didn't bloody do a game show. He's a bloody artist, mate.
Johnny Cash was too busy. He would have done a fucking game show if he got off.
My name is Johnny Cash, and welcome to Jeopardy.
Look, how many comedians have done game shows? I'll tell you all the comedians. Drew Carey's done a game show. I've done one. There's two.
I told you, Steve Harvey.
Steve
Who's the man?
Steve Harvey. Everyone who's ever done Family Feud all over the world. Bob Saget used to do funniest home videos. You know, Bob Saget was the dirty comic who did a lot of clean cut things. Full House was a clean cut thing. Look, mate, I'm not just a comedian. I'm an entertainer. You put me in front of things, I'll try to be entertaining. I'll try to be entertaining wherever you put me. Even now, I'm not being funny.
Would we get an album?
Look, I tell you what, I had an opportunity that I couldn't do because of a scheduling thing to sing a Christmas carol on a TV show. And
So how many threats are you, do you think?
Huh?
Are you a double threat?
No.
Threat?
I can do everything, but I'm not threatening. I'm 4 times unthreatening.
4 times meek.
Triple unthreat.
You give it a go.
Yeah. I'm not threatening. I'm like this. I'm like, I'll put that down. Put that down.
So you got comedy?
Comedy.
Do you then
That's my best threat.
Hosting?
Hosting, I can TV host.
You think you're a better host or actor?
Podcaster.
No.
Podcaster.
Actor. You've been going a long time at podcasting.
I would be a better actor if I had more opportunities to act. But the problem with acting is they need you to be good right away. Right? And I would like 10 major movies so I could get really good first.
You go, I'd like you to lose a few billion on me, but I'll get the hang of it.
Oh yeah, I'm about 7 movies away from being excellent. So if any casting agents are out there, call me.
I forgot what we were talking about. Something about my fucking
the Pope
stickers. No.
Pope, Johnny Cash.
We've moved on from
you
the
said
Pope.
Johnny Cash wouldn't do. We've already done a podcast.
I know. But we've.
If you've got something else, give me another.
Okay, a couple other things I want to discuss because I feel like there's a lot to cut on account of my lack of quality.
I don't cut anything, by the way.
I know nothing ever gets cut.
Just the thing
Who wants this
I
shit?
just cut the slurs and the things.
What? The slurs are the best bit. I can't believe I'm doing a non-slur based show.
Yeah, so he's going to cut all the slurs out. So this podcast will be down to 6 minutes.
Okay, so the pro-natalist movement, Jim. I'm not sure what you know about this.
You know the bit to cut though, Jack, earlier. You got that bit. Yeah.
Oh, so he gets cuts. I'd like a lot cut for quality purposes on my behalf.
No, I only cut career. I cut career savers.
Okay. Where was I? This is what I wanted to discuss with you from the beginning. And I can't believe it took me this
Also,
long to get there.
come out and see me in Chicago at the Vic Theatre coming up because I'll be recording my special very soon. And May 2nd and 3rd, am I right, Jack?
For
Vegas, Las Vegas at the Plaza Hotel. This is my first time new gig for me. Used to do a different casino. Come and see me in Vegas, ladies and gentlemen.
That's always a fun one. If you while we're doing that, you can see me in Toronto, Tacoma, Spokane, Nashville. I'm excited about going to Nashville again.
Well, it's gonna be the thing about the
And Greenville and what's that other place there? Charlotte, the big one.
I really want to sell tickets to my recording of my special.
That'll be sold
And
out.
Las Vegas. Oh, the special's all but sold out. And it was rescheduled and everything.
So the pro-natalist movement is here to address what is a declining birth rate around the world.
What do you mean? We've got too many people. But we have too many people.
Well, we have too many old people, but
and
not enough people having
is
children.
it Japan or China used to have the one-child policy? What are you talking about, Amos? This seems all very weird to me.
There's unfortunately going to be a really massively aged population.
So the
because
problem
no one's
is we
having
have
kids
too
anymore.
many old people and not enough little people to take care of the old people. But why is there a waiting list to get into all the private schools? Tell me more, Amos.
I have no idea about American private schools. And
It just feels like there's a lot of, like, it's hard to get your kid into places. Like when I was a kid, you could get into any sports team and stuff like that. Now it's like, oh, there's a big waiting list for everything.
Well, in 2023, this is some data that's come out.
Mm.
10.74 babies born per 1,000, which was down another 2%. And the average age of first-time mothers is now 27.5.
Yeah, that's older.
That's much older than it used to be. When you were growing up, if a person had a kid, let's say at 20, would that be gossip or would that be, well, that's what's going to happen?
20 would still be gossip. 22, 23 would just be like normal, right?
Yes.
Now, there was a girl at my school who got knocked up. She left the school in year 10 or whatever like that, and she got knocked up at like 16 or something. There's only one of them. But my mother had me at 35. I was her last child. And from all accounts, everyone was like, oh, it's very old. Hopefully he comes out okay. Like they were panicking.
My mum was in her 50s with my siblings.
Yeah, but she didn't actually produce the eggs. She
had them put into her.
She had them
birthed
put
But
into her.
Still, like, and this is the thing.
And then they call it over 35, they call it a geriatric pregnancy, which to whatever man named that, great dig, bro.
The old fossil slags.
Yeah, a geriatric pregnancy is 35 and up. That's the medical term, geriatric pregnancy.
So
it's like we can't believe someone even fucked you at that age.
it's a true miracle.
Yeah. It's like the eggs dry up when you become unfuckable. You see, we didn't know that you'd still be able to do it.
Countries around the world are trying to address this, and they've got different policies.
Yeah.
So Hungary gives you 30,000 euros if you have more than 3. 500,000 yen lump sum now in Japan, because the Japanese don't fuck. They just don't do it. They're out of their culture. Economically, they're struggling. They're also locked away in the sort of virtual reality world, and they really don't like...
No, we did a whole thing on the Jim Jefferies show about this.
And we spoke about this as well on the podcast before. Now, America, under Donald Trump, is having all of these discussions about how to get Americans to start having kids again to address this. One thing that's been tossed around at the moment is a $5,000 baby bonus, which doesn't seem...
That's not going to be
move
enough.
the needle
The
at all.
30,000 one will make someone have a fourth kid. That'll make someone have a fourth kid because we'll get the 30,000 and then we'll figure it out.
Or they've suggested things like the Soviet Union.
But also, what do we need? People who are gamblers. You know what I mean? Like, oh, a bit of cash. Like $30,000 doesn't go very far. And that's what you're having. Like, a kid's expensive. Kids are really expensive. Hot take.
It cost a bit.
Yeah.
Now, in Australia, we used to do this, and I remember there was a link between paying the baby bonus and the sale of flat screen televisions,
Right.
which was people would get knocked up, then they would immediately get that cash and just buy sort of consumer house goods,
Of course.
which was the flurry, which, by the way, maybe that helps address the tariff war. This is all part of that plan, which is we'll give you money, have a kid, and then buy some American-made
I'm
product.
a believer that you just replace yourself, right? So your wife gets one, you get one. So
that means you need 2.
Yeah, I could have another one because I've had, there's 2 women. So I've got one in the bank if I want to. right? But I've had the vasectomy, so no more for me.
And different different groups are kind of building in America talking about this topic.
Right.
And it's seen as some sort of like right-wing movement now called the pro-natalist movement. And they had a convention on the weekend. I just wanted to play you a piece that I heard and get you to react to this.
Okay.
So this is called Natal Con.
All right.
Yeah, there's always some cons that are...
Yeah, Comic-Con.
Comic-Con. This is Natal Con. Have a listen to this.
Life at a time.
We're here at NatalCon, which is a gathering of about 200 people from all over the world who have come here because they all feel very strong.
It's 200 people. That's not a big con.
It's not a giant con.
I love how she goes, 200 people from all over the world. Like fucking
Canada.
Look. I don't want to say
one guy's from Brazil. We think.
I don't want to say it's a small amount of people, but it's a sold out show for Amos Gill.
Well, it certainly suggests that we need more people. If you go to that's the problem. All these people believe the world's underpopulated because their convention's so unpopular.
Yeah.
They're like, where is everyone? Well, you people need to fuck.
Yeah.
They're just not here.
They're wandering around like, oh, there's no one here. Okay, so 200 people. Start again. Keep going.
They're at a football game.
Strongly that the world needs more babies.
There's a civilizational catastrophe coming, and the way to solve it is to have sex. Like, that's got to be the easiest pitch in history.
Birth rates around the world are plummeting.
All right, stop for a second. The way to save it is to have sex. That's got to be the easiest pitch in history. Yeah, but you don't like. Okay, if they're offering for deadbeat dads,
yes,
then it's not a bad deal.
Well, it's a good ad campaign just to be like, lads, it feels better to leave it in.
Yeah, that's not a bad deal. If you just like I can have the kid with no consequence to my own. If I just have to help people have the kid.
Yeah. Well, Elon Musk has been, asking to inseminate all sorts of women in compounds.
More of that fella.
Okay, here we go.
The issue of our time.
It's a massive conversation, and that's why we're here.
We need to encourage more people to get married and have kids. We need those people to be the people of the future.
Many countries are no longer having enough kids to replace their populations. Some experts predict this will cause labor shortages and inflation, permanently changing the economy.
Which will result in sort of retirement homes becoming
but also
sweatshops.
The world's... No, we don't need more kids. We just need the old people dying earlier.
Okay, so that's why we had COVID leak?
Yeah, we just need... Like, seriously, though, I don't want old people to die. I'm not saying, hey, old people, if you're listening right now, you should die. But the problem is that the world's too crowded. We don't have a fucking... Housing's
It's not crowded. We just all live in shit cities.
Housing's too expensive. It wasn't this expensive in the 90s and stuff like that because there's supply and demand. People are demanding more houses. We have more people moving into the fucking cities because the old people aren't giving up their fucking places.
And they have multiple homes.
And they
speculate on homes, and houses have become investments instead of places to live.
Yeah.
There is that. But what I always say to my conservative friends when they bang on all the time about the need for families and big families is I agree. However, what you need to do is make the economy viable that people feel like they can have kids. Because how many people do I know my own age who go, I'd love to have kids, we just don't think we can do it financially. That's a failed society. If people who live in your society think they can't afford to have kids, then you failed them. Flat. You have one job really to live is to reproduce. Okay, and you have some fun along the way, and it's not for everyone. But ultimately, we're an organism that's here to have kids. You've had kids.
I have.
It's been good for you. You've enjoyed having children.
I've enjoyed it. The highs are high, the lows are low.
So, I see a lot of people...
It's worth it. It has been worth it for me. I love my kids with everything. But you know what? I don't know if my kids are going to make me live longer or shorter. I used to do a joke ages ago, which is one of my better lines, which was, I love kids the same way I love cigarettes. I like holding them for 5 minutes every hour, and the rest of the time I think about how they're killing me. And I don't think I've ever said anything more accurate. Because that's what you do. Oh, this is wonderful. And you're like, oh, this bloody thing.
But this is the thing about you. You fucking love, like your son, you watch his baseball games.
That's the bare minimum, Amos.
No. You not just live, you're watching it on your phone and you want to talk to everyone about your kids and you love playing with your kids, and I mean just even knowing you since you've had kids.
Yeah, no, I'm an involved father.
But also a better person for having children.
Oh, I don't know.
You're a real cunt before is what I'm getting at here.
It's just growing up though, isn't it? It's just you a different phase of life. Like you, I don't even know why you'd get up in the morning. Or what do you have during the day?
No, but that's exactly what I was thinking about the other day. Was I watched these things about dinks. Do you know what a dink is?
I'm busy. I have a family.
Exactly. You've got other things going on. A dink is a double income, no kids.
Oh, everyone knows dinks, double income, no kids.
Yeah.
That was one of my mum's. There are a couple of dinks.
Well,
They're no good. They're just dinks. The dinks down the street, double income, no kids.
It's like people will brag about, like, we're dinks. Honestly, maybe this is just because I'm depressed.
You know what I think?
But what is life? Just think about this.
People with kids don't give a fuck about people without kids getting divorced. We don't care. We all talk about people who get divorced without. They go, and my marriage is over. Did you have kids? No. No one gives a fuck.
Exactly. I'm really heartbroken right now. What a division of assets?
And
you probably didn't even own a house.
You don't. There is no division of assets. There's nothing. It's the same as any breakup. It's the same thing. You take your stuff. I'll take my stuff. Goodbye. Kids is where it like you have to pay for this thing for the rest of your life. And then when the arguments happen, all the time it's like, no.
But you see these double income no kids people, and they go, we just get to do as many fun things as we
my
want.
My wife wanted to divorce me over the Easter Bunny. You know, it's not an easy marriage.
You're not selling it to people. How many of these? Like, how many fun things are there to ultimately do? If you get into your 30s. Every year now I'm like this. Oh, it's that time again. I do this thing again. It's holidays. I've been to that place, been to this place. And I'm not fabulously wealthy, but I've had a pretty lucky life to go and do some cool things around the world. I'm fucking...
We've travelled around Europe together several times.
I'm fucking bored. I'm bored of it all. Like, I'm ready to go experience the world through the eyes of a child now. And not think about my happiness and my career at all fucking times.
Oh, there's a group. There was a group of people that I know that work in the entertainment business, and I saw them on Instagram the other day, and they're all, and I'll tell you who it is off the air, but they're all people my age who never had kids, and they were a whole big group of them, and they all went to Disneyland, about 20 of them. Right, and they're all taking photos, and they were taking pictures of them on like the river, like on the boat ride and stuff like this. And it's like, what are you doing? You're just making the line longer.
It's also like you're just out of stuff to do.
But it's like it's for kids.
It's for kids.
So I go to Disneyland because it's good for my kids, and it's like I was into basketball, but then my son got into basketball, and now I'm really into basketball because there's another thing to do with him. You know what I mean?
But you notice how like people, no one really grows up anymore, and so like people in their 30s who don't have kids, like they go to Disneyland and they start video gaming more. And all this.
Have you ever been on a Disney cruise and seen a couple on the cruise?
Yeah, I'm not a fucking freak. I'm an adult.
Yeah, but without I've been with my kids, and there's people without kids on the Disney cruise.
They're like, I'm Timon, he's Pumbaa.
Yeah, and wearing a T-shirt. All my money goes to things Disney that my wife buys. That's a real T-shirt.
I know, it's so... And it's like, if you just had kids, you'd get to experience Disney again, but it'd be far more wholesome. But you're trapped eternally as a child. You're meant to go kid, and then you walk away from those things, you wander through, you experience other elements of life, then you have children, and you re-experience the joy of your youth, both through the eyes of the new child and through what you remember with nostalgia. You're not meant to just live in nostalgia forever. You're trapped.
One of the beautiful things about having a child is that you know how you like TV shows?
Yes.
You have a show now that you're going to watch for the rest of your life. There's a constant program that you'll be checking. What's happening this season? Oh, they've been kicked out of school. Oh. You know what I mean? Like,
so an abortion is a pilot that didn't get off the...
Yeah, abortion is... This was my NBC show. They got cancelled because of COVID. Jefferies.
You still think about it sometimes.
Still think about Jefferies. Yeah, maybe I should have... maybe if I pushed a bit harder, we would have kept it. Well.
I've got some ideas to how to get people to have kids.
Right.
What do you think of this one?
We probably have to move on.
We have to finish, but I think this is good.
Okay.
I think we should make it illegal.
Okay, good. That was fun.
To have dogs unless you have children.
I used to do a joke about this, about how people always have the dogs to begin with, and then they go, oh, this is our baby, and then they have the actual kid.
If you want a Labrador...
a lot of them start ignoring the dogs. Not ignoring them, but the whole, like...
Fur baby.
Yeah, you've stopped fur babying. Like, I've got this thing that's so precious to me, that's more precious than anything else. Like, we have pets at home. We love our pets, but they're not kids, man.
So I think if you ban dogs...
You wouldn't die for them. You wouldn't die for them.
People use pets as like...
I would die for my children without hesitation. to save their life without hesitation.
Would you?
Yeah, I would. Of course I would.
Yeah.
Of course I would.
In what scenario?
I don't know. Okay, so let's say I have to jump in front of a bus to push one of them away knowing that the bus will hit me.
Yeah.
I would without hesitation.
Never seen you jump, but I get the point.
I would physically do all I can do with this fucking grotesque fat fucking body of mine. I'll tell you what.
You would jump to push him, and you would both die together.
Yeah,
which is romantic.
my knees are still intact. Right, but of course I would. Of course I would. Yes.
If you'd made it illegal to have dogs.
Yes.
Okay. And like just pets.
Yes.
Do you think people would feel so alone that they go, "Oh fuck it, let's have a family"? I'm being facetious, but kind of real.
Yeah, there would be some people, but I don't think it would fix the issue. I don't think it would be
number one, fix the economy so people feel like they can afford to have children.
I don't think it would take in a big way.
You think people just would not have dogs
getting
anymore?
rid of dogs. I'll tell you what I figured out about dogs in Argentina, right? Dogs are all wild in Iguazu, right? They're all just homeless dogs everywhere, just wandering around. None of them fighting each other, right? When you walk a dog along with a lead and it sees another dog, it goes, "Rawr!" and you got to hold it back and "Rawr!" and they're trying to sniff each other's butts. When they're all just out in society and they're all hanging out, they're not amazed by seeing another dog. They're just like, another dog, man. All the dogs would chill because they all live out in the wild.
You're giving a good argument there for letting your kids socialise with each other rather than keeping them at home and making them afraid of the world.
This is what I was getting to.
Get them to sniff each other.
This is what I'm saying. It's like this holding things back and us all being in our little thing. If we get out in the wild, that's why you see very little aggro at music festivals.
I think that's more than MDMA.
I know, but...
Dose up the dogs with MDMA. All right, we should finish. I just want to play the rest of this clip because there was a bit in there I liked.
Okay.
Oh, fuck.
You pulled the cord out again.
Always so weird.
Malcolm and Simone Collins have 4 kids, soon to be 5, and are some of the loudest advocates for pronatalism.
What we've seen is pronatalism and demographic collapse have become the global warming.
Now these people are dressed
some
like...
of the first people who really recognize the scale of the problem are major players in the White House right now. Like J.D. Vance and
But this is the bit that I like.
The problem is the people who have tons of kids are always the biggest cunts. Like the people who have 10 kids, 11 kids, they're fucking cunts. So that's the problem. You can't... If you start having over 5 kids, you can't give them all the love and the attention they need. If you have over 5 kids, you cannot see, like, this one has an interest in here and point them in the right direction. You're not meant to have that many fucking kids.
Well, listen to this Brazilian guy.
NatalCon helped double attendance for this year's event, where the tickets cost $1,000.
What?
Yes, I spent all of my savings coming here, actually.
$1,000.
Tickets cost $1,000. No wonder these people can't have kids. They're going to NatalCon.
Yeah, but listen to this guy.
I tell you, the only word right there is con.
Listen to this bloke. I think I see what his idea is.
Do you want to have kids?
Yes.
You don't have kids?
No.
How many do you want to have?
Well, minimum 5. I want to have my first at 22, and then I want to have
so you gotta get on that.
Yeah, I know.
Organizers said they heard a lot of interest in matchmaking.
He was looking
so they
for
gave
a
yellow
fuck.
wristbands to singles to help them find each other.
They gave everyone who was single yellow bands, and this guy says he's come from Brazil because he knows these women are bang up for it.
Yeah. I might go down to NatalCon with my vasectomy.
That is the biggest con at NatalCon is blokes who turn up with a vasectomy. That is poor. I just keep trying.
Yeah, just a T-shirt that says, I'll leave it in with an arrow pointing down. Well, you'll know where to find me next year. NatalCon.
They'll have a picture of your face. Do not let this man in his empty ball bag.
Is it like Comic-Con? Can I dress up as a superhero or something? Like, just dress up as a big baby?
A big sperm.
Yeah, big sperm.
So, anyway, that's NatalCon. It's going to grow. They said it's doubled in the last year, so it's gone from 100 to 200.
Well, that means the world's going fine.
400.
That means the population's building.
So have kids. You think I should get going? I'm getting old. I'm 33.
I think your girlfriend would be a fantastic mother. And so I think she should have kids. But should you have kids? No.
Well, I'm taking semen to a registered post box.
Make an edit point right there. I'm taking semen.
Send me your cum if you've got good DNA, and I'll put it in my girlfriend.
Yeah, I'll get that. I'm leave it in with the point down. I'll give you that T-shirt, but you have to wear it backwards.
Okay. Well, that's what's happening at this moment. Pete Hegseth also leaked information on the Signal or something. I don't fucking know.
All right, we'll see you. We'll see you
Who
next
gives a
week,
shit?
everyone. That was a good one. Good night, Australia.